We're on.
All right, Madison PEG TV Board. And the duck. Oh, I shut off my duck at one point.
One of my doctors.
Okay, Doug is,
That's a good ringtone.
Doug is excused for a few moments.
No, I think it's
Yeah,
wonderful.
let's start again. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
We're fine.
I just don't want it to pick up any.
Seeing how I was
Okay,
doing after that.
good.
Okay.
All right, the 19th of December, Madison TV Board. Doug, Peg, Hope. Our director, Asia, is here, and
Here
we
comes
have a
Noreen.
member of the public. Noreen is just walking in. So Noreen, we've chatted a bit about various things and are just getting started, so.
Sorry.
No, we weren't really waiting, we just.
I'll shut my phone off.
So first is approval of agenda. It's a long agenda. We may decide we want to prioritize some things, but is there anything anybody wants to add to this?
One thought, if anything needs to be encumbered expenses,
Okay,
to let the selectmen know about that.
all right, so.
The reason I'm mentioning that is Dave may have, IT may have one more invoice, something that, a hard drive that wasn't reimbursed yet, and some final, checkup on the PCs for this
Okay.
month. Well,
Okay.
it'll be maybe, I don't know, it's $176 for the, hard drive that was purchased in March that we just failed to add to that
Okay.
last invoice. Sorry about
All
that.
right.
That's all right.
Okay, so we can,
I don't know,
Just-
I mean, I'm hopeful that you'll get it before the end of the year, but
Okay,
Just did-
I know the last payroll is Monday, the 23rd, if he could get it in
by Monday.
by Monday, or perhaps Linda could just,
Write it in there.
yeah.
He's expecting to come over tomorrow, I think.
Okay.
all right. All right, then I would ask for a motion that we approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
That's not- wait a second, where did I put my agenda? It's just- All right, and minutes that I sent out to the minutes of the October 8th meeting. Accept a motion to approve those.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And our non-public on October 8th, I would make a motion that we accept those.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public comment? Anything not on the agenda, Noreen? Okay. All right.
You've covered everything?
Yeah. All right, finance. So we got a report from Linda yesterday of where we are financially. Overall, we've spent 92% of our budget as of yesterday. One more payroll. We just talked about some IT stuff. Anything else you know of, Asia, that,
I don't think the vests had come out of this yet.
okay.
But that came to 185, so, you know, we're still in good standing.
Yeah.
My guess is we'd have maybe around 2,000 or so, maybe, you know, give or take, left by the end of all payroll, and
Okay.
maybe a little less than that. Which isn't much, but I mean, that's good because then we kind of budgeted mostly correctly for
Mhm.
this year.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the finances to date?
Not so far.
Alright. Now, there's a whole lot more budget-wise that we need to talk about. But I also want to get to policies and procedure stuff and keep that moving forward. Any thoughts on where we,
Well, I can just jump in real quickly. The advisory budget committee has advised the selectmen to keep a level budget at worst case scenario and at best case scenario to reduce the town budget by 2 to 3%. We, for next year's budget, are asking for 50,800 was the total budget. However, our franchise fees last year were 43,000. So another item that has come up in discussion is where we will pull any the extra funds from if we receive, you know, if say we only receive 40,000 in franchise fees, where do we take 10,000 from? So I don't know if we want to try to rework this budget at all to level it out a little bit or try to reduce it. I think it's gonna be, you know, a little tricky in some areas because it's just the cost of things. You know, our cable line's not gonna go down. It actually looks like it's gonna go up a little bit. I think we were over budget by $16 on the cable, but that could, I mean, I don't know if that's gonna be more next year or not.
but we can't control that one,
Right,
Yeah,
right. So there's
yeah.
some things I'm saying we can't control. I did try to reach out to Northledge Technologies, but I haven't heard back yet. So we have $3,000 for our contractors line. I don't know if we'll spend about that amount with using Northledge moving forward.
And this is what Dave Downs has been doing, the IT support, but he's not gonna do it anymore, so we'll have to contract it out to
Right.
somebody else. So, yeah, really unknown about cost.
Yeah, and I did try to ask Linda what they spent, you know, because they use Northledge as well, but she couldn't really give me a figure on that. So, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that every department head is trying to really cut costs and really be frugal. So I don't want to I just don't wanna be the only department head that's, not listening to their advice. And I wanna be cognizant of that and respectful of the taxpayers who are, it's not taxpayer money, but if we go over,
It is tax.
does it
Yeah.
become taxpayer money,
Yeah.
Or do
Yeah.
we spend out of our ATF, which is not very sustainable,
Right,
Right.
right,
so.
right.
What's in the fund?
There was about 69,000 after we got our money from them this year.
Okay.
But then we spent about 6,000 on the Telview
Right.
equipment. So it's 62,000 maybe.
And then this is, I finally found out, our equipment account is this checking account. Every year it's published in the annual report. Last year we had 3,889 in it, and we put another 150 in it, so,
Okay.
there's almost 4,000 in it.
That's a different account than the
That's a
other?
different account, I don't know the history of that,
Oh.
but, it does look like it's a checking account, and it looks like if we, the transactions I've seen from it is if we get money for, creating DVDs or selling
Okay, that's where it
equipment,
goes.
or,
Right.
even when we filmed in Tamworth, the candidates night, that revenue went into that checking account, so. It doesn't, there's not a lot of requests for DVDs in this day and age, so it's not gonna
It's
grow
not gonna grow.
exponentially,
Have
We don't have a lot of equipment to sell, so what were you gonna ask?
Have we used it in your tenure?
We've never deducted from it in my tenure, I've only added to it.
Okay, so we could look to it for some equipment stuff,
We
but,
could.
again, it's a limited amount.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else on that, Noreen? Does that cover that history of that?
It's perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
That's what I understood too.
Yep.
Will this budget cutback affect our plans to do the renovations?
I think, and Hope and I kind of discussed, I think we should make the office safe for everyone, but I think we should try to do that in the bare, with the bare minimum. I think, if that's just moving the air conditioner to an outside wall and leave the rest for now. I haven't had a quote, any bids out yet, and I am meeting this afternoon, with Bob Boyd and Dave Swift, to look at the office.
But it's never gonna get any better. I mean, the taxes and the spending, there's
Right.
never gonna be a largesse of funds.
No.
So we either have to bite the bullet and do it, or, as you say,
Yeah,
the bare minimum.
yeah.
We'd said to the select board that we would do it out of our expendable trust fund.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah, so, we could go back and say, ooh.
And I've had a lot
The
of people
picture
say,
has
well, that's
changed.
probably gonna cost you $10,000 to renovate that, and that's
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
in people's minds ballpark, but that's a big chunk of money.
So then we have to decide, do we wanna take that much out of our
I would go to the selectmen and say,
trust,
let's
or-
split it, it's your
or do we-
building.
Yeah.
Some
or
of it's
do we-
our money, we'll pay half, you pay half.
That's a good
Right,
idea.
Right.
We could try.
So I think when you meet with them today,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I can't meet with you. I don't know if you feel up to that, Doug?
No.
Okay.
That's all right.
Try to get some different
Yeah.
possibilities,
Yeah. Well, I think that, meeting with Bob and Dave, I think they're both very knowledgeable, and
Good.
so I think they'll be able to advise
Okay,
me.
okay.
Is it an investment that, at a renovation that will be useful should we not be there?
It depends on who would be in there. I suppose, I was thinking that if we ever moved to a different location, and, even the DPW used that part of the garage.
Would
it
make a
still
useful
be a
office.
good
Yeah,
office
okay.
space, yeah.
Yeah.
So. But I don't know
Right.
what needs, who
Yeah,
would be in
yeah.
there would have, so.
Well, having a functional space,
Yeah.
regardless of what your business was,
Right.
is of value.
Mhm.
So, back to looking at how to cut the budget, you know, looking at other line items. So we've left contractors the same, cable the same, equipment. Now, we increased that from 1,200 this year, we actually spent 1,600 to 5,000. So what were we thinking we need?
That was actually, it's not that large of an increase because it was actually the franchise fees that came out of that, not the franchise fees, but the difference of the franchise fees that we got in. You know, so we budgeted last year
Oh,
for
that's where it was plugged.
that where it
Okay,
was plugged,
okay,
yeah.
so we budgeted more than that, and then when the
And then it
franchise
was-
fees were low, that's
Were
where
lower,
it got
right,
taken
it came out of the equipment line, so it looks like we increased it by a lot, but we, I think it maybe, I don't remember, I think it maybe was at 5,000 or maybe 3,000.
Okay.
As far as equipment goes, we do need to replace, the uninterrupted power supply, the UPS. And, I'd like to look at a better device for streaming, because I did get some specifications on this laptop and it's just not quite up to par as far as space, memory, RAM, speed, all those things, so that's why we've had so many issues with
Okay.
audio.
It was a low-end,
Yeah.
laptop, yes.
And we talked about new cameras, maybe some real higher quality cameras. That
Talked
was
about
part of
that
the
too.
reason
Yeah,
we put that at 5,000,
Yeah.
but
right.
maybe we can't do all of that.
Well, and
The-
and I think prioritizing what we want and what we need is going to be key here for
Yeah,
budgeting.
yeah.
But a better laptop than this would be no more than $500.
Okay, yeah. And I think, Noreen, do you know if Dave already recycled the old batteries for the UPS?
I don't,
Okay.
but I could check.
Okay, because he had advised that we we don't need a new UPS, we just need a backup battery for the
Right.
new UPS.
Because the battery that we had as a backup became so old,
Yeah.
it didn't fit.
Uh-huh.
The UPS.
But I have not priced those out yet. I don't know if you have any
They're-
ballpark, Doug?
Yeah, $100.
I was gonna
Okay.
say, we're not talking a lot of dollars.
Okay.
No. It's a
So that
supply.
line could come down because we don't need a computer this year.
Well, you need that one.
Well, I mean desktop, we don't
Oh,
need, we just
the-
replaced the
yeah,
desktop
yeah.
in the
And
office.
do you need one for school board? One to travel, or are you using this one?
I don't know, I mean, if
Oh.
it, the funny thing is they're the exact same laptop, but at the school, we don't have issues like we do here. And I don't know if this is just bogged down because we use it so much, so I have tried to go in and clear the cache and,
Right.
cookies and things like that.
Mhm.
But it still seems to have issues.
Maybe you need to just add some memory to it.
Yeah, I have the specifications on.
I want to keep moving,
Mhm.
and not get too bogged down on things that are important, but given all that we have to cover. I'm just looking at, it looks like we spent, what, on equipment this year, 1,600. Looking at the profit and loss statement. So increasing that to 5,000. It seems to me maybe we could cut back on that. I mean, do you agree we want to
Yeah.
try to cut this back? Our 50,800 proposed budget?
And you have that equipment account
Yes.
as a backup.
So if we
Yeah,
needed,
yeah.
If you needed
To use
to
that,
replace a
yeah.
camera or something, that's what that was
Go there.
for.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Fund
I wouldn't
budget
cut
is
it back any less than 3.
Well, so if we. All right, so that would be, we cut it by 2,000 would get us down to 48, almost 49, versus this year's budget of 43.7. Online services, we spent a lot, but that's because we took money out of the expendable trusts to pay for the Telview services.
Yes, I kind of wish it wasn't reflected this way, because it does make it look really like, where'd you get all that money and
Yeah,
spend it
yeah,
from?
yeah.
So, I mean, it really, without that almost 6,000 that came from the ETF, we only spent 2,700.
For
But that's
online
still
services.
pretty close, so I
Yeah,
don't know that
yeah.
I would reduce that line at all.
Okay.
Can I just ask, the reflecting it in your budget when it came out of the ETF?
I don't
That's
know.
the way Linda did it. She put it into, and I guess, I don't know, she just made it, I don't know if you want to look at this, our proposed budget.
That's all right, I'm curious too as to why it was presented that way.
I don't know.
Yeah. So supplies was 1,000, we knocked it down to 800 because we took the online subscriptions out of that.
Mm-hmm.
We've expended 800, although again, that included the online subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we might cut that down to 500, but that's so little, it's not much.
Right.
Might save a few $100s there. And the other thing is wages, and unless we want to go back and look at the wages we approved last meeting.
I tried to do a rough estimate of what that would cost, and if we had everyone more or less working the same hours as they did this year, it would be 35,200.
And we've budgeted
So we have, and that
38.
with the wage increases that you sent me.
Okay, okay.
So we could, maybe reduce that slightly.
Maybe take a couple of thousand there. We've got 38 in there. If we left
Yeah.
36,
But meetings run long sometimes, and they have
They
to
do.
put more hours in.
Yep,
yeah.
You
yeah.
may have trouble over at the station editing things.
Yep.
So I would not cut that.
So are you comfortable staying with a budget that increases a fair amount when Asia says that we've all been asked to level fund?
Well,
or
we've
drive our
cut
funds?
a couple thousand out of it already.
Mhm.
I think I would go with what we've got.
See
And
what
yeah,
happens.
I'm good with that. We did the best we could.
I'm comfortable.
You are,
with this.
okay.
I mean, nickel and diming it is not gonna do much of good.
Well, I think we could take a couple thousand out of wages and then get down to 46 versus this year's 44. But the majority rules, I guess, so on this, I would ask for a motion that we amend our proposed budget by reducing the equipment line item by $2,000 to a $3,000.
So moved.
All right, I'm gonna make notes here, I'm gonna forget. Resulting in a final proposed budget of $48,800. Peg, will you second that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain. I'll agree to consensus, but Okay, so that's a little bit. We tried, we did what we could.
I'll send that to Linda so she
Okay.
can update the
It's
budget
not like
committee.
you
Thank
can't
you.
cut back in midstream if there's money, it's just.
Yep. Okay, so current report, level line advisory, wage lag increase we talked about, equipment accounts, I think we've covered that, okay. All right, staff vests, let me jump around a little bit for some of these little things.
Okay,
So they're in,
yep,
cost about 180 some,
that was, yep,
186?
185,
Okay.
and change.
All right. And will you do what you can to get that bill in time to get paid?
That's already been sent to
It
Linda
has,
to pay,
okay,
yeah.
okay. All right. So it was vests and jackets.
I just think she doesn't do it until next week at the
Yeah.
selective meeting is when
Okay,
we
yeah,
sign.
okay. All right. IT support. So I've jumped to new business. So Dave is retiring. You've been in touch with North Ledge, but don't have any update yet, I mean, any budget costs, hourly, or whatever,
Correct.
whether it's a retaining fee or a
Who's
per hour.
North Ledge?
We've used them for IT support before, you know, they can come in and help. I mean, pretty much what Dave does, work on our computers. I don't know, what I was trying to find out from them is if they will offer, and maybe you know, Noreen, do they offer, you know, like a once every 2 months maintenance, as, you know, Dave was doing. He would come in every few months and update everything and run the cleaners and then they can also be on call if you do have a
So-
troubleshooting.
They'll probably do anything you pay them for.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would think that they would, maybe do it quarterly or,
yeah.
you know, something like that.
I just don't know what that would cost.
And
But
North Ledge does the town as well, right?
they do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it makes sense to work with them.
Yeah.
So that's what you'll look at, is some kind of regular maintenance plus on-call as needed.
Yeah, I think if it fits within our budget, and if it doesn't, Dave has given us, you know, kind of the written list of what he does to the computers. I've learned a lot from Dave, working with him over the years, so I think it's something I could handle
We could do
and,
some of,
if North Ledge, you know, if they were just there for something I didn't know.
okay.
And there may be other services that come from different folks.
Yes, yeah.
All right, well, and that's great that you're learning and could do some of that. I mean, that'll then come out of our salary, you know, line item, but
Mhm.
wages, but that's okay, you know.
Mhm.
They'll probably charge more an hour than we pay
That's
you.
what I was thinking, yeah.
So if you have
Probably
time.
Probably quite a lot,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
2 times,
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah, true.
These days.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, you know, it's a case of you having time to do it,
yeah.
your busy life.
Mm.
All right, equipment upgrades.
I think I already kind of talked about that, just the
Mhm.
UPS backup battery, a better device for the live streaming. Sorry, I was trying to find that.
So those would be things to get in the new year, once we're into the new budget?
Yeah.
Okay. So the better device is a new laptop computer?
I think so, I don't know, I mean, there are different devices that are solely for streaming. I would have to do some, you know, pricing out, see what they cost, cause that's all we use that laptop for. We don't use it to surf the internet or do anything else, so. Maybe I could send this to you, Doug. It's the specifications that I received.
Sure.
That are kind of the minimum for
Okay.
streaming.
I'll look at it, sure.
Okay.
All right, good, yeah.
Because
so-
it's not just the memory, there's a few more things to it.
Yeah, could very well be, yes.
Yeah.
Good, and the battery, you'll get that?
Yeah, again, I'll need to price that out, and I'll need to, just check in with Dave or Noreen to make sure I'm buying the right one.
Good, good, okay. All right. And New Hampshire CCM conference, CCM being,
It's the New Hampshire Community Media, there's another C in there somewhere, but I can't
Okay.
remember. But we have a membership with them, it's only $100 a year, they are great, they give us content for the channel, which is kind of from all over the state. They also send out little blurbs about updates, you know, just kind of what's going on. They had that article about franchise fees kind of going down across the state. But Kasha and I attended a conference in Manchester because they just had their annual conference and it looked like it was really pertinent to what we do. So we attended there and it was great, but one of the takeaways they kind of said was just to, you know, one of the ways that they have found, a lot of different community media stations have found their way to be relevant to the townspeople is to have a presence on social media. So I think this has come up before about Mad TV having its own Facebook account or, you know, what have you. I'm still kind of on the fence, but I do kind of think if we had that out there, people would really know who we are, what we're doing. We could update if a meeting gets canceled, we could update where you can find a video, or if we did have an interruption in the streaming, we could just give a little, you know, blurb. I don't know, so it's just something to think about. We don't need to necessarily decide now, but I don't know what your thoughts are on Mad TV having a,
How much of what we now have on Channel 3 would be moved to, say, a Facebook account?
I think it would be more of what we put on the cloud would be going to, so the cloud is the town page, the town website, and then our Mad TV, you can click on view meetings and you can watch the meetings there. So, but we could also link to YouTube from the Facebook and say you can watch your meetings here on YouTube.
Wouldn't cost us anything.
No, it would be just time,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder about using the Facebook pages that are already here. Unfortunately, there are 3 different ones. There's, I don't know why, but there's 2 different Madison ones and one Silver Lake Facebook page.
Yeah, one's Madison and one's Friends of Madison.
Yes, yeah, and I don't know, you know, why there's 2 different ones, if somebody got mad at one site and left, started their own.
Probably.
You know,
Yeah.
but just to put stuff there, so
I
people are already
can.
looking at those.
The only thing is it would
Sites.
come from like me or
Yeah,
Kasha, you know,
yeah.
and if we had our own page, then that update or that post would come from Mad TV and it would say, you know, Mad TV is saying this, Mad
Okay,
TV
so
is
Mad TV could
sharing
put a post
this.
onto the existing pages.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
okay, so that isn't,
And I have noticed, I don't know if anyone else has, that people get a hold of you via Facebook
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
so than
yeah,
almost any
yeah,
other outlet
yeah, that's
true,
nowadays.
yeah.
So if someone was trying to reach out to us, you know, it's a quick way
Yeah,
to say,
yeah.
hey, we have this event, could you be there to film? So I find that not a lot of people know who we are and what we do.
That's still true.
Quite true.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they
yeah.
see us filming, but they don't really necessarily know that.
Maybe
They're
we need to
available
spend
for-
some money on make a big sign for the office that says Mad TV.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I
that's it.
actually don't want anyone to know where our office is.
Okay.
I don't want
Yeah,
people knocking on the door, no,
yeah,
it's not that,
right,
it's just we
right.
have a lot of equipment, and
Yeah,
sometimes
yes.
we're there very late at night
Right,
too,
right,
so.
yeah, yeah.
I don't
That
mind
makes
being
sense.
under the radar.
Did you get the shade fixed, the
Yes,
curtain?
I
Okay,
put
so-
a curtain up, yeah.
Okay,
It fit perfectly, actually.
good,
Oh, wow.
good.
It was made for
great,
this window.
Great. Well, that
So,
does
just something
seem
to think
make
about, we
sense,
don't
yeah,
need to
yeah.
decide now, maybe by our next board meeting. And then, just really quickly, they had
Oh,
a,
wait, Noreen, did I see a?
Well, no, if you're not, when you're done, I was
Go
just,
ahead.
well, I was gonna suggest that maybe NHCCM would be a resource for determining what to get for streaming. I mean, they would have a recommendation.
yeah, and Owen Provencher
Owen.
was the one who gave me all the specifications
Perfect,
for it.
okay,
He
you
didn't tell
did
me
already.
what to buy, but he
Right.
did tell me what
This
to
is
look
what you
for
need.
when, yeah.
Perfect, okay.
They're
You're
very
on.
helpful, yeah.
And can you move NHCCM content up to YouTube?
Oh, that would be a
I
time
don't.
consumer.
I don't know. I don't know that we would, I don't know what the point of doing that would be.
It
Yeah.
automatically comes into the cloud when you
Yeah.
when you subscribe to a series
Yeah.
without any additional, I mean, it's there already, you wouldn't have to do something extra.
Because the only way you can see NHCCM content now is to go to our channel.
Channel 3 or via the town website, am I right?
Well, we only put our programs up on the website. So this would be programs that are, it's like the Christmas Day Parade in Salem, or, a puppet show out of Merrimack or something
And
like
and is
that.
that
you know?
currently
It's like-
only viewable on Channel 3 for people that have cable TV?
We use those programs on Channel 3,
Right,
yes.
right.
And then it would be viewable there if you're in Madison, and otherwise it would be viewable in those towns that they're coming,
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
originated
yeah.
from.
There's content out there which we have chosen not to select because it's political
Right.
or
Right.
religion-based,
Right.
and
Right.
so,
Pornographic.
well,
No,
I doubt
not
that's,
really.
well,
Well,
so we do
okay,
not
maybe
want,
some of
so
the
we
late
do
night
not want
stuff.
to do that, right?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Okay, thank you.
no, of course, but it is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
And then just another really quick little thing, that Merrimack TV was there at the conference, and they showed us some of the content they do, and it was just so great. It was like a 5-minute video of interviewing this like really interesting person in Merrimack, and so they do that on kind of a monthly basis. And I've tried to do a little bit more of that, interviewing some different interesting townspeople, or trying to have more than just, the
Meetings.
selectmen's meeting, the budget meeting.
Yeah.
But it does come down to hours and time
It
and.
does. And people's willingness, we've
everything.
talked about this in the
I was
past.
gonna
Yeah.
say, Peg suggests that years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Merrimack Moments was great, and then another thing they did was like a Merrimack Minute, and they just quickly reviewed everything that had happened that month. Well, not everything, but the highlights that had happened that month and the board meetings. So they, if there was like a warrant article coming up, it was just a quick overview of, hey, this is what happened at this month's zoning board meeting, or this, and it was just a clip from the meeting, so it wasn't like you were anecdoting for someone, because you don't wanna,
Speak for someone.
speak for someone else,
Uh-huh,
right,
uh-huh.
so. But anyway, those are just some of the takeaways from that conference, and it was kind of inspirational for Kasha and I both to see kind of the neat things these other towns
Yeah,
are doing.
yeah.
Merrimack's obviously a much bigger town than Madison.
It was helpful just being able to read that report,
Yeah,
to see how many other stations there are,
yeah,
dealing with some of the same issues, and forcing us to look that this is a much bigger issue than just,
right, we're not the only
Yes.
ones, yeah,
and that it may be across the board
yeah.
in every town in the country that's dealing with public TV.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is for it.
I hope that in the next few years, they will find a way to make the streaming services pay a fee, because the cable companies need to pay a fee to the town. That to me would be the most straightforward fix, if all these streaming services had to pay just a few
And
cents,
whether that would be
you
a
know?
state thing or a if it's federal,
Right,
it's.
I think it'd probably be through the FCC. but-
Yeah, yeah.
So they're paying for the use of cables or paying for the use of the air?
They're actually paying for the use of the cables, for the right-of-way, for the, like the land, basically. See,
Because the cables go across town,
Yeah.
lands, at least in some
Yeah.
places.
but these
Yeah.
streaming services, they aren't laying down cables, so they,
Using someone else's.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they should really be,
Right.
but, I don't know, anyway, that's not anything we'll change.
Yeah, but it's opened at least our 4 eyes as to the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
And that was very helpful.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, if it ever came up in legislation, I would say, hey, call the senators, tell them
Yeah.
to vote for
I
this.
think it
Yeah.
will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They may, hopefully.
All right.
So I guess my point is, there's things I would love to see Mad TV do and kind of get into, but I also am just trying to be very aware of our budget. But I do think having some sort of presence on social media would help people just know
Yeah,
who we are
yeah,
and what we
good
do.
idea.
and that we are valuable.
No doubt about it.
But if you don't know who we are,
Yeah, yeah,
how do you
yeah,
know our
yeah.
value,
With more people watching things as they're streamed
Yeah.
or going to Mad TV to look at meetings that they didn't attend, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And if you put up a Mad TV Facebook page, you could put a bug on some of the videos that you're saying you can find Mad TV on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly, right, we would add it, promote it, yeah.
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 Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I mean, I would think if it's something you or Kasia felt like you could, it'd be great if one of us could volunteer to do that.
I would destroy the entire function of it. Does Amanda participate in any conversations with you and Kasia? Do I have the right name?
Yeah, as far as.
I've never met her.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not aware of the extent to which she participates hourly on any given month.
She's a very, very busy person.
Yeah.
She has other jobs, and she's,
Trying to think, was she on the schedule once this month? I looked at it when you sent me the.
she requested not to be, she was on once, but then couldn't take that
Okay,
meeting, and
okay.
December's just so busy for her that she asked not to be
She's
on the
involved in
schedule,
the-
Journey to the North Pole.
Yeah.
Thank you.
so, yeah.
The train that goes,
Yeah.
from,
Christmas tree?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, out of North Conway, yeah.
So I don't think.
That's how we found her, that's how Doug found her
Yeah.
a few years ago.
Yeah.
So if you were thinking she could help out.
I
in
was
that
just
regard.
trying to get a sense of what her availability was.
Yeah, I did,
'cause I don't
because I
know
did
her.
have her programming for a little while
Yeah.
there, but it was just too much to take on, so I took it back over, so.
So aside from budget needs, would it be nice to have another person? Would it be useful, essential?
I think at this point we're pretty
Okay.
good with the staff that we have. If that changes, if people's availability changes, then I
Go
will
on
let you
Facebook
know.
and things might change.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Next.
well, I think we can go back to the old business organizational documents.
I mean, these things that you have here,
Yeah, well, they're the ones I emailed you, and then, I mean, this is a little bit different.
Yes,
but
it is.
The other, so I went through these, made some notes. Where are they? Organization. And these are ones that Noreen updated after our August meeting.
A year ago.
It feels like a year ago, yes, it does.
And thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
work.
yeah. So I guess I'm thinking if we can go through them kind of line by line, or, you know, any comments that people have, and I'd like to get them to the point where we can take them to the select board and say, you know, we'd like you to approve this new set of our organizational documents.
Which they will do right away.
Who knows? Who knows?
Which one are you starting with?
The board of directors' responsibilities.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I had a couple of questions on this. One, that the board meetings are held at town hall meeting room. Just to say, usually at the town hall meeting room, if for some reason, you know, we wanted to meet somewhere else, meet at the office, or this room was unavailable, or does that make sense to give ourselves a little wiggle room there? And then number 5, directors, Noreen, do you want to come sit at the table to
I
work?
just wanted to get my notes out so I
Okay.
could see what I did.
Okay.
No, I'm okay.
Well, you know, you could sit
Okay.
at this table or over by Asia. Number 5 here, directors are responsible for the budget. Note, the annual budget is based upon franchise fees that the town receives from cable TV provider. That may change, is that still fully where we are? I admit, I'm confused about this. We put in a
Yes.
budget.
Yep, our budget is solely based off of franchise
Okay.
fees.
And so that's why when the franchise fees came in less than we expected,
Then we
we had
have
to
to
cut our budget.
remove that much
Okay.
from our
Okay.
equipment line.
So that's true at this point. Do we want to say the actual budget is currently based on?
I like that, just because that, like you said, it could
May
change.
change. Or currently the annual budget is,
Well, I think it's implied, current, I think, the budget, I mean, until something changes.
changes.
Sort of implied, but it's okay.
And number 8, directors contribute to all the discussion on contracting with the provide of cable services. The word provide in there sounds. Provider, with the provider. Okay, so it's just missing
It's
R.
just missing an R.
Okay. I thought it was something like that.
Yeah, provider of cable
Okay.
service.
And that's all. I did not copy the backs for you, but it was just a place for signatures.
Mhm.
And a date, that was great, because the last stuff never had a date on it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So how does it work? Do these have to be warned and then reviewed at another meeting? Or since we're not approving them, we're just taking them to the select board to approve? Is there any first reading, second reading of things like this?
Well, I would think you are the board,
Yep.
and you are presenting it to them as approved. So I
Yes.
guess you invite them if they have a concern, that they should bring their concerns back to the board. I would assume that you are in charge of what you're putting together,
Yeah.
and let them come
Okay.
back with a comment if they have.
I just didn't know if we needed public input,
think
that
so.
kind of, okay. The first reading,
I-
second reading of stuff.
I mean, the public has an opportunity to contact the board,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
yeah.
But do
Well,
we have a,
Facebook page.
do we have a responsibility to tell them we're changing something? Something they don't even know exists,
No.
but
No.
I guess we can take it to the select board. If they
Yeah, I don't
feel we
know.
have to have another step, they'll tell us.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you had to have a public hearing on it or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not saying we should, I'm just wondering. Okay. All right, I'm perfectly happy
I
to.
didn't see anything in the other towns that indicated
Okay.
they had a public hearing when
Okay.
they put together their policies.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
That doesn't mean they didn't do it, but I didn't see any indication
Uh-huh.
of that.
Uh-huh.
I did see in one of the town's policies that they kept a document along with a draft, along with the approved, as to the date that was this, you know, if you make a revision in the future, you have a revision page. This was what was
Okay.
revised. So from here on out, because we haven't been doing this, I would just, maybe just start that as a practice.
Is it-
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, that one. And Noreen, I have this problem where your type at the top cuts off part of the logo. And so I
Sorry.
always have to play with that when I'm,
So when you sent it back out, there were two logos, so I cut one out
Okay.
when I saved it to my computer, but I don't know why there were two.
okay, so there weren't, was the logo blocked at all on your original?
No?
Okay,
Don't
so
think so.
it's something about the way
I think it
my.
might just be how you received
Right,
it.
okay,
Yeah.
because whenever I use a blank logo page, I have to just play with it so I'm not blocking
Really?
the logo. I don't
Oh,
know
I'm sorry about that.
why that is. Well, that's okay.
Well-
That's a little thing I can deal with.
Yeah.
All right, so that's one. The next, let's do the mission statement, because that's a one-pager.
Yep.
And I didn't see anything
We made very little
to
change.
change on this
We
one.
made very little change to that.
Okay. So then the operating policies and procedures. And the yellow is where you made changes, is that right?
The yellow is where I had some question. And
Okay.
actually, I came up with a few more after I read it again.
Okay.
Yesterday. Not big items. The statement of purpose, the statement of purpose is, I believe, possibly should include why we have operating policies and procedures, but, you know, we didn't really say that here. It's more or less why we exist, which is fine. I was looking at some others' policies and procedures, and they had the intent of this document is to provide, but it's okay. I've decided to.
That's in our mission statement.
It was in
We
our
could
mission.
refer to the
Yeah.
mission statement here.
Right, so we kind of did it there.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, so going down to program content, topics of religion and politics is discouraged unless multiple or opposing points of view are provided within the program segment. And then the following one, the document here had RDS, but it's RSAs. And there is an RSA 650 that talks about what should not be shown on public TV, like lewdness and things of that sort. There is actually, in the Hollis document, they actually printed out in an appendix what that RSA 650 says you cannot have.
Okay.
So I could send that, this one might need a little more work. We might not be able to finalize this
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
hope. But I could send that to you, what was in there, and I thought, well, you know, I don't know, but it was pretty graphic in terms of what is not permitted. I don't know about the 1998 FCC fact sheet, but so I'm kind of questioning that now, because that seems kind of old. But the New Hampshire RSAs, there's 645 and there is 650. I can't remember I looked up the 645, I can't remember what that one was, but the 650, and I have research there because I went and looked at it, and it does pretty much explain what you cannot have. And I guess I highlighted under A there too, the direct solicitation of duns.
What is it?
What the heck is duns?
Oh, I looked that up when I was rereading this last
Yeah.
night. It's appeal for funds.
For
Like
funds.
dunning you?
Yeah, yeah,
Dunning you,
yeah.
okay. Except for nonprofit organizations, which we really haven't, you know, we really haven't done much of that at all.
Yeah, yeah.
The obscenity and or libel, those things, are all, or I think that might be even included, the lottery thing might be included in the 645. But I think we need to do a little more work
Research
on that.
Okay, okay.
645 is an indecent exposure and lewdness.
What's the 650 then? I thought that was the same thing. It's pretty graphic what they have in there. I'm just like, oh my gosh. I don't even know if we want to put it in the document, but we could.
Criminal code, obscene matter.
Yeah, okay, so exposure and all that stuff. Yeah. I would just suggest that we just look at this again. Let me go to some other policies and procedures and see how, because I looked at Hollis and I thought their document was pretty good, and anyway.
That would be great if.
Okay, and they also, if you look at the next one, the copyright policy,
Yeah.
they also do have a form for acceptance of program material. It's like the person who's submitting it to Madison TV agrees that it does not contain this and does, you know, that there's no copyright and those sorts of things. So I think perhaps we ought to include that form, even though it's kind of formal. This document that we had already referred to a form which we couldn't find the form.
It could be an addendum to this.
It would be an appendix.
Appendix,
In the
thank
appendix,
you.
yes.
Okay.
So in reading this, okay, and then under 9, getting your program on television, he or she signs a access agreement form. There was a reference to the form again, which is why I highlighted, and we need to reevaluate C-Town and Moultonborough. I had a Moultonborough one also with a form. So if you would like, I could take the best of both of those forms and kind of compile it and propose it to you, and just see how it would work in this document again. And then under if possible, the PEG television producer will be notified at least 24 hours. I put 48, maybe. I mean, you know, 24 hours is
Very
not
little
enough
time.
I think it
Yeah,
should be
yeah,
48. So
yeah.
I put a highlight
Okay,
there.
Okay.
The reference to the form again was under number 10, indemnification. So we sort of need to. I wished I had a little more time before I came here today, but I want to look at 2 more towns and see what they're showing in their policies and procedures, and just see if there's any need for further adjustment before you submit to selectmen. Is that okay?
It is
It's
more than
wonderful.
okay. It is
Okay.
greatly appreciated.
Okay. All right.
You get a loaf of bread.
Okay.
Question, anytime somebody wants to submit something to be shown, is it our job to make sure they've done all this?
Well, it's
Well,
our
they-
job to make sure it's presentable for showing, and it is described in here.
So we have
You
to
know, it has to
watch
be-
it ahead
Yes,
of time?
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
we would, yeah. we'd
Pretty
have
much
to
make
watch
sure
it.
it's of showable quality, the sound.
That's gonna fall into the videographers to,
Well, it will fall into the supervisor, yes, to kind of
Yeah.
check it. I mean, that wouldn't take, I mean, you should be able to bounce through it. You wouldn't have to, you know, look at the whole thing, but we've had so few ever
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah.
But, yeah.
It'd be a nice problem to have
Yeah,
more
it
to
would be a
look
nice
at if
problem.
people.
Yeah.
It's always been out there that we're there for the community
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
show things, but if we do that, we also take on that responsibility of
Yeah.
what we're showing.
Yeah, yeah. And also, we don't have to research that, that's why they have to sign a form stating,
That's
Right.
you know,
That
they
it
haven't
doesn't-
taken
it doesn't
copyrighted material from
violate.
anywhere
Right.
else.
I would say the only thing that we probably are a little easy with is music, background music, is that, you know, if we add
Oh,
some music to
right.
something, you know, should we
Might
be
be
paying some
copyright.
kind of.
oh, you can't play my song on your station.
But other than that, you know, that's the only area where it's a little.
We need music prior to 1921 or whatever year is now, the
So, all right, so you're gonna allow me to do a little bit more.
Couple of questions I had on the first
Yeah.
page, under statement of purpose, broadcasting meetings in their entirety. Does that imply that non-public portions of meetings are not broadcast, or should we say that, you know?
I'm sorry, where are you?
Number 1B,
Oh,
if we're broadcasting meetings in their entirety, we're not broadcasting the non-public portions of those meetings. Should we note that, or is that
will
understood?
consider broadcasting any broadcast ready material provided by a resident, is that what you're?
No,
No,
no, back to
back on.
statement of purpose.
Oh, broadcasting major government school board meetings in their entirety.
Excluding non-public
Do
sessions.
people even know there's non-public?
Maybe
Perhaps
just-
we should put excluding non-public,
Or maybe you just need to say the public portion.
the public,
That,
broadcasting major government
Yeah.
school board meetings, public portion. in
Broadcasting the
their
public
entirety.
portion of,
and
I
we do
like
more
adding
than
it.
major government in school board meetings. We-
Broadcasting. Well, we do pretty much all.
Yes, yeah,
Town government.
yeah, we do.
So we could say,
Should we,
town.
and major
Take
government
out
committees
major.
and school board meetings? Broadcasting government committees and, because we're a board, but most of mostly they're committees, right?
Yeah, there are a few committees, yeah.
government and school.
and Edelweiss
board
isn't government.
Right, right,
And committee, commission and committee, because there's commissions.
yeah.
Board, school board. Oh, yeah, let's get this together
Cover
here.
all of them.
Okay. Oh, I need my mouse. All right, so we're taking out the word major, we're adding town.
You're adding town or is not replacing the word government?
Broadcasting town, government, and school board, commissions. And school board, commissions, and committee meetings. Committee, public portion. Of meetings in their entirety, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Or take out entirety because you're saying the public portions.
Portion.
That's a good
of-
idea.
Of meetings. Well, just saying that we don't edit anything out.
Yeah,
And-
Right.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
It's non-edited, so it's gavel to
Okay,
gavel. And I
okay.
would almost put that in parentheses, gavel and to gavel. Gavel to gavel. Because we don't want them to think that we're
Right.
in any way
I agree.
altering the presentation.
Right.
Because once you say public, they're gonna say, well, or if you say non-public, then they're gonna say, well.
Yeah, to me, non-public is the official term of those meetings, the non-public portion of the meeting.
Mhm.
But not everybody understands that.
Okay?
Who's gonna read this besides the selectmen?
You never know.
It's not, it's out there to be
Yeah,
distributed?
It's on the website.
Yeah.
It's on our
Yeah.
website.
Well, I don't know if it is now, but it will be when it's
Right.
approved. And the next one, community program philosophy, the Madison TV studio. We've decided we're calling it an office, not a studio.
Right.
Is that true? You're calling it office now?
Well, I think because it doesn't,
We're really not equipped
it's not really
to be a public place?
yeah, we're not filming anything there, you know, we don't
Okay,
have,
okay.
we don't have lighting, green screen, all that stuff. at
Okay.
the office, so it's not really a studio.
Yep.
Yeah. And at the end of the next line, B, residents of the Madison TV service area. Why service area instead of just residents of Madison? I mean, I don't know if there's any town lines that are crossed with who would get the Madison Channel 3 versus
I
the
think
Conway.
It should.
And it's a small thing, but I wondered if that had some specific meaning.
We could just say of Madison, just.
Yeah, I think so.
Just
Right.
leave out the
Yeah.
TV service area.
Yeah, okay,
All right. So I'm making these changes as we go, okay?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
And then my last one, the next one I can reread. No individual shall be denied access to broadcast on contract PEG channel or YouTube channel or via town website. Since, should we mention those other ways that people say, oh, we're not putting that on our YouTube channel, or that won't.
I'm sorry, where are you?
Number 3, statement of non-discrimination.
Oh,
Again, if someone came to us with a tape, quote unquote, that they'd made of, some event,
mhm.
and we put it up so it played on Channel 3 at some point, would it also show on the our YouTube channel? Could it or would it?
I think maybe we could say, up to the supervisor's discretion, whether it plays on YouTube or not. Because at least that's how I've been handling it.
Okay.
Some stuff that is mostly just kids, I try not to put on YouTube.
Okay.
Because it has such a greater access to the world,
Uh-huh.
So can we leave it as it is?
I want our non-discrimination to cover every
Right, to
area
cover all
it needs
the-
to.
Right.
And you're wanting to add the YouTube channel?
Well, I wonder if you could just be any, just say kind of any of
Our
PEG
broad-
TV's outlets.
Our broadcast
Broad.
venues.
Say it again.
Our broadcast venues.
Yeah, venues, broadcast venues.
Broadcast
On
time.
That would,
contracted
you know.
PEG channel broadcast venues, is that what you're looking at?
Shall be denied access to broadcasting time on any of our broadcast venues on the basis of.
Broadcast PEG venues.
On our
It's
broadcast.
still channels, I mean, a YouTube's still like a channel. A venue, I don't know, venue doesn't work for me, but.
Broadcast outlets, broadcast.
Options?
Well, I guess it's just PEG channel makes me think of Channel 3.
It's just the Channel 3, right,
Sure.
I see what you're
So
saying.
on any of our broadcast channels, as opposed to PEG channels.
Okay,
But our-
broadcast channels, okay.
So not.
Yep,
Broadcast.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
on
That sounds
any
good.
of the, okay.
I just wanted to jump back up though to B, because I was rereading it again. As Madison TV will consider broadcasting any broadcast-ready material provided by a resident of Madison. So if a resident of Conway submitted something to view, I think that's maybe why it said Madison TV service area.
Except the
Potentially.
Channel 3 only shows to Madison service area, which,
Well, I know only Madison is viewing it, but
Yeah.
what if there was a concert at the high school where
Mhm.
Madison kids
Uh,
go or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that,
uh-huh,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just looking at the part where it says provided by a resident of Madison. It makes it seem like you can only submit content if you live
I
in.
understand, and that's
Right.
restrictive,
So-
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Any broadcast ready material provided,
Stop it, provided.
just,
Or which covers Madison And programs of interest to Madison residents?
Yeah, something along those lines.
I'm gonna reference that form again then.
Right,
PEG access agreement.
yeah.
In accordance with the regulations of the PEG access agreement, so provided in accordance with the PEG
Yeah, what if we said
access agreement.
provided by area residents in accordance of, that way,
Okay.
you know, if you didn't live right in Madison,
Okay.
you could still
Okay.
potentially submit a video.
Like the Tamworth
Right.
candidates
Right.
night.
Yeah,
That was
that was
available.
helpful.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, because it spanned towns.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
okay, all right, I didn't get that, but if you did, Noreen,
I did.
okay, great, great. Anything else in here? This is a tremendous job, Noreen, thank you.
You're welcome.
In one of these documents, isn't there a reference that says a member of Mad TV board cannot work on any other board in the town?
That was the
In
previous
this one,
discussion.
it just says, Board of Selectmen are excluded from membership
Okay,
under the Board of Director
okay,
responsibilities.
so we've removed that piece.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that was some of the disagreement between some of those old documents that were unsigned and undated, and but which the selectmen referred to when they wouldn't approve Noreen as an alternate.
Which I'm no longer on conservation.
Yes, so that's also, I wanted to ask if you were still willing to be an official alternate. If I can go back to the Board of Selectmen and attend the meeting when they're gonna consider it, to answer questions. And, but
That's
should
fine.
we do?
There's no rush.
Should we try to get this approved first? Because that, although really getting you approved now that you're not on the Conservation Commission should
Right.
happen.
I did resign the Conservation Commission because of the Madison TV board.
You say you did or
I did not.
not? No,
I had my own reasons.
there are other things.
Oh, we thought we were special.
Yeah, I talked
Well, of course
to,
it was a consideration
Yeah.
too.
I talked to Marcia recently, and here she's bought a house in Tamworth.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
um,
I know.
Former Conservation Commission chair. But it looks like the chain of ponds is really happening, doesn't it?
Hmm.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
One
yeah,
way or another.
Yeah, that's great.
It will get preserved. I mean, it will get preserved.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Um,
thanks.
So should we go to the board with these two that we agreed upon? The director's responsibility and the mission statement, or should we wait until we have the policies and procedures to go with all three?
I'd do all three at once.
I would agree with that too.
Okay.
I would do it as a package.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And when is, I guess depends on when your next meeting is, and I'll try to have something
Okay,
to you
well,
before that.
we'll talk about that.
Okay.
And I would
Should-
present it to them not as, we need approval for this,
Right.
that this is a fait accompli. This is our new plan.
So we are
Here's-
informing you that
Yes.
we have.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. And I'm here in case you have any questions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We are here.
Yeah.
I'll want support on that. But, okay, should we take a formal vote to approve the two that we've done?
So move.
Second.
All right, so that we approve the new director responsibilities and the mission statement. All in favor? Aye.
Could
Okay.
I just clarify that any revision we made to the mission, we didn't make anything there, but we did make a small, I think you made a small revision to the director's response?
Yeah, that we usually meet at the town hall
I
meeting
didn't
room.
record that. Do you want me to record that, or did you want to record that?
Since you have Since I can't print
I have
without
the document.
these things going wacky.
Okay, I'll look at the minutes and
Okay,
I'll make
okay,
the
okay.
adjustment.
All
Thank
right,
you.
all right. Okay. When does the Board of Selectmen meet, which nights, which weeks?
Tuesday nights, I don't think you'll need the meeting this soon, but they are meeting Monday of next week since
Okay.
Tuesday's Christmas Eve.
Okay,
So, but normally it is
No.
Tuesdays at 4:30, every other
Every
Tuesday.
other Tuesday.
So,
If they're meeting Monday, that means Elizabeth's gotta have everything today.
Today.
For that, so
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm not suggesting
wait,
anything
I'm
for
not
next
sure-
week.
I'm not sure
No,
if
no,
they
no, no.
have that invoice.
I think, Dave's invoice. I see what you're saying.
I'm not sure
Okay.
it'll be
Okay.
ready, but
Well-
they usually meet by the end of the year too. I mean, they usually have, if they're meeting this Monday, they might be meeting the next Monday too.
Yeah.
Because of the year end, to
Yeah.
close out any final
Right,
year end. And
right.
that would be when they might take encumbrances if we had an
Yeah,
encumbrance or
Well,
something.
yeah, and the 30th is a Monday night, so
And
maybe they'll
Dave's-
meet again on the 30th.
Dave's is not a payroll, it's just an invoice.
Right.
It doesn't involve payroll, it's just
And if he could get it by Monday morning,
maybe
early Monday morning.
Early Monday morning, okay.
But I think otherwise it would be fine if it's not.
Well,
If
I would
it's
send,
just-
we would send it to you in hope, and
Okay.
you guys could forward it.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I'll find out if we can do
Okay.
that. If not, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Well, I'm just thinking in January, not before the end of the year, that I would ask to be on the BOS agenda to ask to have you approved as a alternate. Because I've been sending stuff to you, but not always sending it to Noreen, because I felt like, officially, should I be
Official.
including
I
her
know,
on
yeah.
the board communications? But if that's done, then it just makes it easier to keep everybody communicating together. So let me know when their January meetings are.
Okay.
It's,
I mean, I can probably tell you right now.
This
I
is,
just have to
this
look
is
at
just
that.
this year's calendar, it's not
Oh,
a 25.
gotcha.
I know, I was wondering if 25 is
Oh,
behind it.
maybe.
I mean, normally it would be the 7th of January and the 21st.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
usually the second,
It's the
third,
second, third, it's every other
What's-
Thursday
so it varies.
at 4, is it 4:30 or 4?
Tuesdays.
Tuesday. I'm sorry, Tuesday.
Thank you.
Brain freeze.
Well, when we
Yeah,
know,
it's not on, that is a 2025 calendar, but it's not on there. But if
Not
they're
on there.
meeting.
They would normally meet next Tuesday
Not the 30th, so they'd be meeting the 7th
and the 21st.
and the 21st.
Yeah.
okay,
And February 4th.
because I think I could do either of those, 7th, 21st. Yeah, so if it's okay, I will send Linda, I send to the board via Linda another request to approve Noreen as an alternate.
Mhm.
And then plan to attend that night. Okay, I don't know that we need to approve that again, we'd approved it previously and as a board that we want her as an alternate, alternative, I'm not sure which it is. Alternate.
alternate.
It's an
Alternate.
Necessity.
No, it's not a necessity.
Um,
Not by any stretch. You guys are doing fine.
All right, I still have time, if people have the energy to know a little more, looking ahead, this big picture of franchise fees. And what I sent you yesterday about Noreen's thinking about determine a 3-year forecast, project salary increases, equipment needs.
Well, it was just a thought, you're
Yeah.
trying to support what you're asking for.
Yeah, another thought I had, so they've been working, there's like a committee that's been working on the town CIP,
Mhm.
and that's going, that's projecting, I think, 10, they might even have a 20-year out CIP, but we're not on it.
Remind me what CIP is?
Capital improvement plan,
Capital
Thank you.
improvement plan, so just forecasting, you know, what's coming
big
up.
ticket items.
Big ticket items,
Yeah.
and we're not on that CIP at all. And I was thinking of reaching out to the committee and just kind of having them put us on as a placeholder, potentially. If we ever were going to come before the town and say,
Yeah,
you know, would
yeah.
you mind a little bit of your taxes going towards funding Mad TV
Yeah,
or funding a
yeah.
portion of it?
If the
or
franchise fees can't cover it.
If the franchise fees can't cover
Right,
it.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a lot of different ideas in my head. I don't know if any of them would work. I also thought about what if we form like a co-op, you know? What if like Tamworth TV, they don't have
Mhm.
one, but maybe, you know?
Uh-huh,
And then
uh-huh.
you'd have the different towns pool together to fund
That's
it.
a
That
good
would mean more staffing, of course,
Sure.
but,
Yeah,
just a thought.
so maybe savings in terms of like our office use, if there was a office studio, the town's shared, and
Yeah,
the cost of the equipment and the tech help and
Right.
things, good.
right. But then you'd also, you know, film for whatever was going on
Uh-huh.
in the town. That was your co-op? That was in your co-op?
That's pretty cool.
I don't know.
A few years ago, when I first joined this board, you had just done a survey
Yeah.
of everybody in town, or as
Well,
many people.
Hmm.
a few people
Didn't-
responded.
Didn't get a lot of people. Do we have any idea how many people really use our services?
No.
You know, who would be willing to have their taxes raised in accordance with the availability of those services?
I mean, the only analytics I could I could pull stuff off of YouTube. I know how many people are watching when we're streaming, and then how many views are watched after the fact. when
I mean,
it's
if
not
they're
live
streaming, then
anymore.
why would they wanna accept taxes for?
Well, because
Well, they gotta pay for the staff to be filming,
To make
to
it
be
stream.
streaming
Yeah,
it.
somebody has to be here
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
to man it.
you gotta create the content.
yeah.
I guess my question, I didn't use the word right.
Okay.
People who have smart TVs that don't use Spectrum,
Right.
are they going to want to pay for a town TV station that they don't use?
They have access through YouTube.
They would be using it because they'd be using it through YouTube.
Through YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the town website.
Or the town
Or
website.
Or the town
Yeah,
website,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, maybe people who have cable TV go to YouTube for streaming, which you can't get on Channel 3, so,
Right.
you know, it's,
If
you can watch it later, but not live.
If we did not have Channel 3 and we didn't broadcast on that, would the town still receive franchise fees?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
okay,
Yeah, you don't need a peg channel to receive franchise fees.
okay.
It's part of the agreement
Yes.
that they
Right.
provide us a channel.
Yeah.
And in Hollis, I think they're getting 3 channels.
Yeah, I had 3 in Amherst,
Did you?
Mhm.
Yeah, they had one
Yeah.
for government, one for schools, and.
Yeah,
public education and government.
Yeah.
Did that mean free franchises?
No,
Yeah.
one franchise fee, but with 3 channels.
3 channels. We're just
A
one.
bigger fee?
Of course, we're a lot
Hmm?
smaller
A bigger
too. They're
fee?
like at 8,000, 9,000
Yeah,
people.
Amherst collected
Right.
5%.
Well, that's another question. How do we ask for our fee to be increased from 3% to 5%, or 3.5 to 5?
You had to ask that
Knowing
question.
how difficult it is to communicate with,
The problem is, the town does not have a contract with Spectrum any longer.
That's
It's
true.
been 18 months, and it's been in the lawyer's hands, and they've done, as far as I know, nothing. Because Spectrum doesn't want to. So I would think to do that, we would have to go to the lawyer and say, whether you've changed the contract or not, we want to up our franchise fee.
Well, why won't you make a motion? Make a motion and contact the lawyer and do it. I mean, if it looks like we're going to be if it looks like our budget is
yeah,
expanded,
yeah,
now.
yeah, if we could try to do that now.
I mean, we've
Let's
been
do
at
it.
that 3, what, 3.5?
3.5, yeah.
For many, many
Forever,
years.
yeah.
And obviously to keep pace with salaries and equipment needs and streaming
Yeah.
and all the things that we provide the town, it's not gonna take anything away from the town.
Right?
No, no.
And if we deserve it, we
And,
should make a
and
motion to ask for it.
spectrum fees go up all the time anyways, and no one will notice
That's for sure.
another 0.5% or 1.5%.
1.5%, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Also
Doug,
move.
you wanna make a motion?
I move that we, how do I want to word
Write a
this?
letter to the lawyer, the attorney.
Well, we need to go.
Contact,
We need, because we don't know who the lawyer is, we need to contact Linda, have Linda contact our town attorney who's representing us for Spectrum contract to raise our
Franchise?
franchise fee from 3.5 to, you wanna go to 5?
I would.
can we do more than 1% at a time?
Yeah, I believe so.
Can't remember if I've.
I'm not sure, I have to go back and look at the contract, I've got
If
it.
not, at least 4.5.
All right, 4.5%, whatever.
But the request is for 5. Let
Yeah.
them come back and tell
Okay.
you you can't.
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
So, contact the lawyer via Linda. Is that okay to say it that way?
Yeah.
I mean, rather than, if Linda wants me to write a letter instead of her or something,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, she would never give me the guy's name.
Really?
Is it Linda or is it the selectman?
No, it's
That would
Linda.
It's Linda.
It's Linda.
Yeah, at least via her, if she has to go to the select board to tell them or whatever, you know, as the administrator, start with her.
And it's not the town attorney, it's the
No,
special attorney
it's-
just for this issue.
Right, working on this, and supposedly working with other towns, trying to
Yeah,
Right.
group them together so Spectrum will, consolidated, whoever it is, will respond. So Doug made that motion, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Okay, I think that's good to get that
Mm.
in motion, who knows how long it'll take. All right, maybe we look at these Noreen's suggestions and think about how we look ahead for our future funding. Because if we got that increase, that would certainly help at another meeting. So how soon do we want to meet again? We had talked about meeting now and then waiting till after town meeting. Do we want to wait till March, or do we want to meet before then to try to finalize this policies and procedures and take that to the,
Before then.
who knows what the select board will be after. Right now, I know we have one supporter on the board. I don't know how the other two will react to this.
There'll be
Will you
some
have
reaction.
Any excess with the franchise fees for this year's budget, or are you right at even, or, because you usually put in a warrant article to have it, any
Oh,
remainder
yeah.
put
Right,
into the
right.
expendable trust fund?
Yeah, thank you for reminding me, because we probably do need that warrant in if we're going to
Right.
do that.
Although, last time I went to Linda, she said, I just do that. Maybe I was asking her if I had to write it. It almost seemed automatic from her point, but let's make it a
I think
motion
that's a
just in case
follow-up.
there's any question. So I would make a request for a warrant article to transfer any of our unexpected funds into our,
Yeah, she won't know the amount right away, but,
No.
but,
Right,
No.
but she'll get it by then.
it's, yeah, because we don't know what the amount is for 2024 till like February when they get the
March,
check, or
yeah,
March.
yeah.
Right,
So any unexpended funds into
Yes.
the expendable
Well,
trust fund.
right. Just formalize it with her so it doesn't get missed.
Yeah,
Can you remind me when we need to submit our annual report?
It's usually by no later than the end of January, or probably
Yeah.
the last week of January.
Okay.
Yeah.
and I've had that in mind that I'll have to write that report. So I made that motion, who's gonna second that?
I'll second it.
All in favor
Aye.
to transfer those funds into the expendable trust fund. So, meet fairly soon. January, give me time to get to the select board so that Noreen is official. In about a month.
Sounds good.
Hey, do you have any possible family travel plans in January?
No, we're
We
doing
should
it
be
this week.
including. Okay.
Heaven only knows what could really happen, but let's make this a
Yes,
priority.
yeah. So, give me till the select board meeting on the 21st to go and ask for Noreen. So, meet on the 22nd or 23rd.
Of December?
Yeah, no, January,
January.
Oh,
January, so.
December's done.
Preference for a day of the week, Wednesday versus Thursday,
I'd rather Wednesday.
okay? So Wednesday, the 22nd of January. And preference for time,
10?
10, I
10,
like 10,
okay, okay.
in case it snows.
Yes. Time to move it out of the way, huh? It's beautiful this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous.
Gorgeous,
Wow.
and not much.
No,
Yeah.
just enough to coat the tree.
But an awful mess on the driveway, I tried doing some
Oh.
shoveling and it says crusty snow on top of icy pavement.
Right.
Because I had my driveway paved this year, so.
Aren't you glad you did that?
Well, except it hasn't worked out well so far, because it's more, when it rains and then gets cold, it's icy versus on dirt, it wasn't. But, you know,
There it is.
He's sanded a lot of times.
Salt works well.
Yeah,
Never mind
yeah,
salt.
I might try.
Does
Good for the
wonders for your
water.
car, too.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
good for the water.
that's
No,
all.
not at all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't leave the ground, there's no way it doesn't leave the ground. Sand is best.
But then you have
But
to
it doesn't,
sweep it off
it
at the end.
doesn't melt, yeah, yeah.
Well,
You could all move, right?
Yeah.
trade-offs.
Yeah,
You can use your wood fire ash too, but that's messy too.
Very
Yeah.
messy.
But it does
Too,
work, it's
but
like.
it does work, yes.
You
You have to
could
put
get
it
your dog-
somewhere.
you could
Kitty
get your
litter
driveway
as
heated.
well.
Yeah.
You get your
oh,
driveway heated.
Yes, yeah.
That sounds expensive.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
pays for that?
Hmm?
Who pays for that?
So we'll
You do.
adjourn at 10:45 if you wanna.
Okay. Do you
Go.
make a motion to adjourn?
uh,
So move.
Seconded,
Sure.
all in favor?